Volo is a cloud-based access control solution and only came to the market as cloud-based as well, which is what I think one thing that sets us apart from everybody else. We are only a cloud-based solution. That's all we know, and we invented ourselves as that. It genuinely gives you that biggest flexibility, scalability and scope and openness that other traditional systems can't easily give to you. But the biggest thing for me is the flexibility. That's why cloud really wins, is because the flexibility. None of us know what the future really holds and where that goes, but you give yourself the best option with a cloud-based solution. You got to think about Volo as it's an always-on solution. This is always there, it's always working, it's recording every action that happens. Being a cloud-based solution, it is tracking every piece of event that happens in that system. And it's how you use that to your best advantage. And this is what we're trying to encourage our installers and end users to think about, is how we can use that data, understanding which door is the busiest door in a building, which access level is the one that's most predominantly used. Are we managing the data in the most effective and productive way? An example of that is we worked with a retailer recently who was going to close a particular staff entrance. There was a verdict that that wasn't the right one. So upon looking at their door usage, they realised actually they were going to make the wrong decision of seeing where their staff entered and exited the building. So it made a big difference there. We see people genuinely create multiple access levels throughout their system, which is no problem. The system can handle as many as you like, but it just means if you go to do a data architecture change, it's harder work for the system because it's got to do it across multiple access levels. But if you look at which access levels are assigned to people and see what's being used, you then put into the system the right information. And that for me is the key thing, is understanding the data and how it makes the simplicity and the power of the system more effective. It's about people who are working the premises every day. How are we making their day simpler, better and more accurate? Because all of a sudden now a concierge or an estate manager or a head of security hasn't got to look through 100 users, because if there's only 50 using the building, he only needs to look through that 50 and the other 50 are obsolete. Let's make sure the information you give to the people who are protecting and maintaining the premises and people moving around the building in the best way, with the cleanest, most important relevant data. One of the things to do is to use a function that we have in our system called triggers and actions. It's an email alert system, and it's very good at flagging up abnormal eventing. And I don't think you really want to be getting email alerts for you've arrived at 9 o'clock this morning, you've swiped and you come through the main entrance, because that should be happening. But if you're trying to access a server room that you don't have access rights to, well, the head of security should be getting that information. One, does that mean that your access level is right because you're not supposed to go there and you're trying to go somewhere you shouldn't? Or actually your access level is wrong because you should have rights but you haven't got rights? And it sends that email alert to give it at the time of that event happening. So it's live data. Now that's really useful because it means you can make an impactive decision there and then as the problem has arisen. Not after somebody has sent you an email, complained, been frustrated that the system's not doing what they want it to do. We can get an email alert if the system has gone offline, which again, that is even more important because that invariably always happens at 4 o'clock on a Friday of a bank holiday Monday, whereby it's a longer period of time to get that fixed. Well, let's be aware of that happening as it happens. Let's send that through. And that gives the people into looking the report to say, okay, fine. Now I can pull a report to say, how often does my system drop offline? How often do people try to access incorrect areas? Who's a particularly high usage? Who do we see going through the doors more than somebody else? Or which door is the busiest? It gives you the idea to look down that list then and see, hang on, this is all relevant because I've seen those email alerts. That's telling me what's going on with my system. I can cross-reference that with my reporting suite. And that's, you've got some very vital data.